Hi, this is Sean Henricksen from the Sean Henricksen Law Firm, where we help good people like you avoid the devastating consequences of criminal charges. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about things that people should know if they're going off to college for the first time or living on their own for the first time. Before we get to that, we do have a free download for you. It's 4 things you should know if you've been arrested. You can click down on the link below and we will send that right out to you. And if you do have any questions about this video, or if you're being charged with a crime here in San Antonio, feel free to give us a call or click down on the other link below to schedule a free consultation. We'd be happy to help you out. If you're going off to college for the first time, or if you're living on your own for the first time, you're going to have a lot more independence now than you did previously. And along with that independence comes some responsibility and comes more situations where you might have some run-ins with the police because of various issues. There are certain things that you should know to make it less likely that you get charged with a crime in the future, or so that if you are charged with a crime, you've got a better chance of getting a good outcome on your case. The first thing that you should know is that you have the right to remain silent, which means that if you're being investigated for anything by a cop or being questioned for whatever reason by an officer, you don't have to answer their questions. You have that constitutional right. If you're being investigated for anything other than something like speeding, then you shouldn't be answering the police officer's questions. If they suspect you of anything from possession of marijuana or DWI or anything else, what they're trying to do is trying to get enough evidence so that they can arrest you. Or if they're going to arrest you anyway, then they're trying to get enough information so they've got a better chance of getting a conviction against you later on. If you are questioned by an officer, what you should do is you should tell that officer that you are using your right to remain silent, and you should also demand to speak with an attorney. After that, you shouldn't say anything else. The only thing that you do have to tell an officer is your name, your date of birth, and your address if he asks. And that's only if you are under arrest. You don't have to give him any of that information unless you're under arrest. Once you tell the officer that you are exercising your right to remain silent and that you want to speak with an attorney, stop talking. It's important that you not make any admissions like that you've been drinking or you've been to a bar or you have anything illegal on you or anything else like that. And it's also important not to lie. If you lie to the officer, then they're going to try and use that against you to show that you are not a reliable person, you're not a truthful person, if this goes to trial in the end. The second thing that you need to remember is not to consent to a search. You've got the constitutional right not to be searched by an officer or have your stuff searched by an officer unless he has a search warrant. In most cases, searches are done not because there's a search warrant, but because the officer has probable cause to believe you have something, or more importantly, because you consent to a search. If an officer asks if he can search your car or search you or search anything else, and you give him permission to search, then you are waiving that constitutional right, which makes it much more difficult for us to do anything if the officer does find anything. Even if you don't think that you have anything illegal on you or in your car, you should still not let the officer search, because sometimes there are things that either you don't know are illegal or may not in fact be illegal, but the cops think that they are. And they can try and use that stuff to charge you, even if you're innocent. If you don't give an officer permission to search your vehicle or yourself, and he searches you anyway, he may be able to do that if he has probable cause to believe that you have something illegal on you or in your car. However, if he's wrong about that, if he doesn't have probable cause, that's something that we can argue in court. And if the officer does find something, for example, marijuana, if the officer does find marijuana, then we may be able to keep that out if that search was an illegal search. Another important thing to remember is you should never have marijuana with you in your car, and you should never smoke marijuana in your car. Your car is one of the least secure things that you have. There's an entire exception to the search warrant requirement for vehicles in certain situations. And an officer can frequently search a vehicle even if they couldn't search you or couldn't search your house. There is an exception that makes it easier for officers to search that. And most importantly, marijuana has a smell, whether it has been smoked or whether it hasn't been smoked. And if an officer smells marijuana coming from your car or coming from you while you're in your car, that's going to give him the ability to search your vehicle without having any sort of a search warrant. If you do want to try marijuana, remember it's still illegal in Texas, but do not do that in your car. Make sure you do that somewhere else. Lastly, if you do get arrested or if you do get charged with something, call an attorney as soon as you can and get some help on this case. There's a lot of technical things, particularly dealing with search and seizure and just the law in general. It is technical. We went through a lot of schooling. We have a lot of experience dealing with these issues that you don't have. Even if it seems like the police have a really good case against you, there may be things that we can do to help make the case go away. If we can't get the case dismissed, we can still try and get the case resolved in a way that this isn't going to affect you for the rest of your life. If you've watched many of my videos, you probably know that when I was in college, I was arrested for DWI. Thankfully, that case was dismissed, but what my attorney didn't tell me is that since my case was dismissed, that I can get my record cleaned up and keep that from showing up on background checks in the future. Even if your case doesn't get dismissed, there are still other ways that we can keep this from showing up on your background check in the future. But it's important that a case gets resolved in a certain way. Even if your case doesn't get dismissed, there are still ways that we may be able to prevent this from showing up on your background checks in the future and following you around for the rest of your life. So if you do get charged, make sure to schedule an appointment with an attorney quickly and get their advice and get their help so that you can try and keep this from following you around for the rest of your life. I hope all this has been helpful for you. If you do have questions about anything that I've said, or if you're being charged with a crime here in San Antonio and you'd like to sit down for a free consultation, feel free to give me a call. Phone number is 210-942-4997, or you can click that link down below and schedule a free consultation with me. I'd be happy to talk with you about your case and help you out on that. I hope you have a great day.